next question to you is, like suppose, why does product fail? Is there any process or principle we can follow to avoid it? So I'll just elaborate this question. Why I'm saying, because like I have seen and like seeing also a lot of startups, and the problem is the important why product fail is like, is there any principle company follow? Is there any process which is like they should stick to it? So what is the reason any product fails, or is there any process or principle people follow to avoid it? So I think
Yeah.
this is so we can.
So, product should always be about solving the customer problem, and in
Okay.
a way that the customer understands it. Okay. So,
Okay.
like a good product would be like if there's a problem that's a minor problem for you, but it's
Mm,
happening a lot,
mm,
that would be like a good product. If you're solving a small problem that's constantly happening, it's bothering you all the time, and
mm,
somebody like a guy hears it, and then they think, okay, maybe I can solve it in this way.
mm,
So, that would be a good product. Another good product is like a big problem. For example, Uber solved a problem where these like people were having like traffic. There was a lot of traffic. You don't always have a car, and you have to get from one place to another all the time. You were this very frequently occurring problem. So
mm,
they solved this problem. Okay, so you should always focus on solving a problem that is there and that is frequently happening, or a big problem that's happening once in a while. So
okay.
and when the product manager gets far from solving the problem, and
Mm,
instead starts focusing on the fancy technologies and making your product look very fancy, like the case of Google Glass, for example.
mm,
They came up with a very fancy product, like it's a glass in front of your eyes, and it gives you can take any kind of video and photography, and you can do like when you're going a roller coaster ride, you take a video and all that. You can do a lot of fancy things with it. Okay,
mm,
but nobody wanted it. It just kind of came, and within within a year only, it was gone, disappeared from the market. It failed badly, even though millions of dollars were went into that. Why? Because of not solving any problem. Nobody, like, all of the things that was doing was already being done like happily, like people are able to do that anyway. It was not like somebody was really looking for that product, because it was not really solving any problem. So as long as your product is solving a problem, yeah, that would be, you should focus on how much of the what percentage of the problem is are you solving out there in the world for the people who is going to use it. Another thing is, like, it has to be a usable product. Like, it's not like you come up with a product that solves everybody's problem, but you can't use it because there's so many buttons or so many features you just don't know, the user doesn't know. So
okay.
it has to be a usable.
Fine, fine. So it means like your company follow any process or some principle set of guidelines or SOPs where you define that these are the things we should follow. So means like suppose like there are a lot of iterations. Okay, so means like suppose you have taken a lot of feedbacks of about 1,000 customers, but now you want your product. Okay, these are the set of guidelines we should stick to it. Okay, because I think too much change also sometimes means like not comfortable for the users those who are using that product. It's like suppose you're changing frequently some new features you're adding on top of it. So is there any guidelines or principle or process? Because I came across like one of the person I know. So he emphasized like there are two things means like on process and principle. Okay. So he mostly emphasized like, okay, these are the two things which you should focus on. Okay, what are your core principles and what are your process when you're building a product? So means like, can you just tell me about this?
So we are okay. So one thing we have kept in mind in our product is, like, we kept the UX very simple. Okay, it's so
Okay.
we have there's a lot of device management companies out there,
Mm,
but when you go and start using our UX, like, it will take. I mean, you don't need to use your brain to understand, where you have to go to do what.
mm,
Okay, it's very simple. One of the
okay.
things was because we were startups, we had initially very few features, so it
Mm,
was a very simple UX. But now, even though we are adding on more and more features as we
mm,
are growing, and more and more customers are coming, we are still focusing a lot of our effort on keeping that initial UX very simplified. Okay,
okay.
so
Fine.
when a person enters, uses the signs up with our product for the first time, he will still understand, he or she will still understand where I have to go to do what. Okay,
Okay.
so I guess that is one of the principles that we follow.
Mm,
Another, what should I say? um, so we follow that 80-20 principle. So it's like, if a problem is being solved for 80% of your this thing, which kind of like that only cuts off a half of the like extra things. If 80% of my customers are getting satisfied, I don't need to care about those like extra feature required by 20% of people who ask for something very unique, very different that nobody else has asked for. So that will also like help you a lot in prioritizing.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we kind of try to align our problems with what the customer is asking, and then we have one roadmap of the customer request, and then we prioritize it by what is the partner ranking, what how important that customer is strategically for us, and another is like this thing like technically what are the infrastructure things that we need to change. So if those two are aligning it together, then that thing becomes top priority for us. Got it? So like two roadmaps, one is engineering focused, one is customer focused. And then wherever they are actually, if we are able to like both of them are matching in some way, like one feature that works for both, then that will go into the top priority of the actual implementation. So we kind of make a balance like that over there. I hope I'm answering your question.
Well said, well said. Means like, yeah, means like, because that's what means like your experience, like the way you work. Now, these are things like, because I think even I'm not able to define, because these are like when you work on a product, you get to know that, okay, these are the things we should stick to it. Like simple, like even I heard somewhere, like simple is the solution. So people will like it more. Means if you keep it simple, and if you focus on your set of principles, like, okay, we'll follow this, like suppose 80-20% ratio you're telling, because product is all about like a lot of users going to use that product. So in that sense, I think you have defined, means like about you try to keep it simple, as simple, so they can use it and taking their feedback and improving their like 80-20% ratio you have you're telling about. Okay, so my next question is how, just a second, how important is product management for companies nowadays?
I mean, I would say it's very important.
Okay.
I mean, see, product managers are like very well respected positions in companies. But I mean, I would say that engineering, the actual engineers are like probably the most respected like developers in a software company. But product managers also, if not less, equally respected. Why? Because see, as an engineer, when you're building a product, uh, okay, you work on your part, the specific part that you are concerned with. But as a product manager, you are focused on solving the problem for the people who are our customer, right? And that is always the biggest, one of the biggest thing. People are the most important equation of the whole like business. I don't know that you are building, right? That the people that you're doing it for, those are the most important factor in there. And when you are concerned, your job is concerned with those people. You are the voice of the customer, so it has to be like extremely important. I mean, there's no this thing about it. Plus, you are a mini CEO. The word that people use for product manager is a mini CEO. You are the CEO of your product. You kind of like everything around that product, like from the requirements to the delivery, everything that goes in between is your job. So I would say that product management is extremely important. It's gaining a lot of importance as we are growing in this industry. It's like in the last 10 or 15 years, it has become a very important role.
Great. Good points. Okay, so my last question to you is how to make a career in product management. Suppose if someone, like suppose you are telling like the way you wanted to product manager, you have like informed your like new company, I want to get into this. So what are the skill set required? How can someone start a career or make a career in product management? What are the skills required? Or you need to be technically expert in some domain, or you can follow some principles so you can become a product management. It means like how can someone make a career in product management?
So this was something I struggled with for a while, but yeah, I would say that you read books. I mean, I'm sure if you are looking into this role, you're already reading things out there on the net, and you're looking at different resources like books that are available. I got this book called Cracking the PM Interview from Gail McDowell. What's her name?
Okay.
Gail McDowell and Jackie Lackman. So I can give you the link to that book. So it really defines, like explains to you what the whole role is. Like I was reading this book, and there's a couple of other books also that I've referred to. I've looked at online resources, and then I kept applying to program management, product management jobs on bigger and smaller companies. Now it also depends on which field you're coming from. If you're already an engineer, so technically you're already pretty sound, so that's great. All you have to do now is like start focusing on whatever, like let's say you are engineering in some big company like Oracle or Amazon or Microsoft. Okay, good that you know your technology, but you understand what product you work on. and then you look at like how that product is used. You should, like, if I ask you what is that product, and what is it used for, how do you analyze it, these things, you should be able to think in terms of product as well, not just your coding is great that you know how to do it,
Mm.
but you have to kind of start thinking in terms of the product itself if you're working in a bigger company. If you are coming from some other field like finance or design or something, yeah, I'd say that you are already probably focused on the product in that case, because just try to learn how to become data driven, try to learn how to estimate, like those estimation questions, start practicing, and or sure. And then yeah, keep applying, keep giving interviews. That will also, it helped me. Like I kept giving interviews, and then finally in a startup, like I was like, you have I just got the opportunity. So it's like going into a startup. If you're getting your foot in the door, that's a good opportunity. For in my case, I got successful.
Yeah.
Like I was lucky that our startup was successful. But
Mm.
even if it's not, you still get that role into your resume. And your
Okay.
resume, or sorry if I'm not very organized in this answer, but your resume is also something that really speaks about you. So you ensure that the skills that we talked about today, like your people management, your leadership,
Mm.
communication is one of the most important things, and
Mm.
problem solving skills, your initiative taking skills, and how you ensure that your team is working well and you can deliver things. Those things, you might have like tons of experience in different things, but make sure that that is coming out. Like if you're an
Okay.
engineer and you have a lot of technical experience, make sure in some section of your resume you are able to bullet list your experience as a leader, as a communicator, as a somebody who can get people to solve a problem, and you know uh,
Mm.
follow what like your vision is. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
hope yeah.
No, 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 I got your point. I think still means all things like when we summed up like which you described earlier, you know how to manage people. You know about a problem. You know like you should be a leader. It's like these are the prime skills you need to have to get into this product management. So one more question I would like to ask, like suppose you have like from a business analyst to a product manager. Now you're technical product manager at Esper. So how important for you is like while in this process learning is the right set of things you are learning and you are applying it to by giving interviews or it's like upskilling yourself. How important was that and how it helped you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that upskilling yourself is a constant, like lifelong process, right?
Mm.
So as I said, I mean, I kept on. So I got books like books that cracking the PM interview was one of the really good books that
Mm.
I refer to sometimes even now.
Mm.
Then I look at. I learned a lot from my colleague product managers also. Like
Okay.
I learned that they were not only building for the company, they were building their own brand also. They were writing things out there in their own blogs and
Mm.
discussing different products. When you one of the biggest thing that I would recommend is building a community. Like I attended this conference recently called Women in Tech,
Mm.
and a lot of people, like people came from similar background, engineers and product. So people who are there in product management or even engineers, like go and talk to them about the product, go and talk to them about what they feel like what should be done. When you are things you can get from books and online resources is one thing, but when you really talk about product management to other product managers, there the kind of learning that you get, there's no match for it. So just talk to other people. Like it's wanting to get competitive, which is good, but at the same time, if you really discuss your ideas and you understand the other person's ideas, and there's like that learning was really great for me. Like I learned a lot from my colleagues and I'm still learning.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
and
Fine.
and then certifications are there. I've taken courses in other e-learning platforms as well, so
Okay. Okay.
that
Okay.
also.
Okay, fine, fine, fine. So basically, we at Skill Hacks also like trying to tell people about the importance of applied knowledge. Means like suppose when you're working, you're reading something, like you told about the community, you're telling about means like how to apply because there is no set of defined rules. When you work, then you get to know, but you have to consistently upgrade yourself on a different tech, on different processes, which supposedly you want to become a product manager, you want to become a data scientist. So I think upgrading yourself is a constant process, as you described. I think it is a lifelong process. Even we are trying to address this by discussing this. What are the aspects, suppose like how you transform from business analyst to a product manager. So there are different set of things which you need to apply. But I think again I'll describe 3 points which you have told, like leadership, problem you should know, and about the people management. These are the important skills people look for when they look
Yes.
for product management. Okay, so thank you, Shivani, for your time. And so we will be coming with more content, and we are building this skills hacks for people who can upskill themselves in different technology which are trending in the market. Okay, so thank you for your time, and we'll be coming
Thank
with
you so
more
much.
exciting topics.
Thank you so much for taking my interview.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Shivani. Thank you, Shivani. Bye.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.